Hello everyone, this is Scott from the Mercenary Miniature Painter back again with John for another video battle report. This time my nefarious Skaven of Clan Rictus are taking on the vile Strigoi vampires. So we are playing a scenario from the Resurrection scenario pack called the Zandri Road, although obviously we're not playing in Zandri. We're doing a more of a ruined city battle where the hordes of Skaven have come to defend their conquered territory from invading vampires. The road itself, so each half is worth 200 victory points to whoever has the highest unit strength on the road. And additionally, if your general falls, you place a marker where he died, and that's worth 200 points to the side that claims it. So you can actually gain points from your own leader dying. But we will see if that comes into effect, and I'll come back with a quick cap of the armies in a minute.
Evening all, it's John here again from the Mercenary Miniature Painter YouTube channel, and tonight I am on the vampires and of the Strigoi nature. So in core we have 5 direwolves over here, we have 10 ghouls, 20 skellies full command, 20 zombies, another 20 skellies full command, 10 more ghouls, and 6 more wolves over on this flank. In the special, 20 graveguard full command. You can guess what banner they've got. 1 banshee over there, another banshee over there. Leading the army, we have the Strigoi Count, and his underlings are a Necro here, his Thrall friend, and a Wraithen with the Thrall. I rolled up for spells. The Necro got Invocate and Van Hells, so I kept both of them. The Count got Gaze and Hellish Vigor, sorry, but I swapped the Hellish Vigor for an Invocate. And that is 2,000 points of Strigoi Vamps on the Scott.
For the Skaven tonight, we have got 2 units of 20 Skaven slaves with a musician each. So there's 1 here and 1 on my other flank. 2 blocks of 28 clan rats, 1 there, 1 there. And then I've got 20 plague monks, 8 gutter runners, 4 rat ogres. I've got 2 warp lightning cannons, and I've got 2 rattling gun teams attached, or just 1 each for the clan rats. My characters, I've got leading from a place of honor at the back is the Grey Seer and a BSB. And in the front ranks, we've got a Warlock Engineer and another Warlock Engineer. That's 2,000 points of Skaven. The spells I've got, obviously both the engineers have to take Warp Lightning. Bit of rubbish on the rolls for the Grey Seer. Unfortunately, I didn't get Plague or Warp Lightning, so I have Skitter Leap, Vermintide, Pestilent Breath, and Death Frenzy. So John has rolled the first turn, and we will come back after he's done everything for the Strigoi.
Vampire counts turn 1, pretty uneventful. Everything moved up. The wolves were out of march range, so they've just gone 9 to there. All the other stuff's moved up their max movement. These wolves were out of march range, so they've just gone 9 to there. The banshees come up. And then in the magic phase, I got every spell off I tried. I'd done a level 7 invo from the Necro to raise a new unit. Scott tried stopping it but couldn't, and then I rolled a double 1, so I couldn't raise anything. This bloke then done a single invo on his unit and brought 3 skeletons up, and then the Necro done a Van Hells on the Count's unit, and that is where they've ended up, just further up the table to try and get into the Skaven as quickly as possible. That is Vampires turn 1, over to Scott for Skaven turn 1.
Skaven turn 1. Slaves moved up over here with the engineer popping out on his own by the church. Everything else kind of milled around the middle. These slaves have tried to give themselves a bit of flank protection. The gutter runners have bravely moved up to challenge the direwolves. Magic wise, bit annoying because although I have got a huge amount of power dice, not a lot to do at this point because Gracie doesn't really have anything useful. So this guy, he irresistible forced a upgraded warp lightning and wiped out a whole unit of direwolves that were here, which is very nice. This one here attempted to do the same to the vampire counts unit, but it was dispelled, and then he tried... Sorry, no, I didn't cast it. Rolled too low, and then the storm demon, which would be the lower level warp lightning, was then dispelled. I didn't try to cast anything else because I didn't want to blow my Gracier up for no reason. Then, being the cheesy rat man that I am, both my warp lightning cannons fired at Old County here. Both of them hit the unit. The one over there was strength 4, that one was strength 2. Between them, they killed 7 skeletons, so not terrible. Rattling guns were both out of range, so that's the end of my turn. On to John, turn 2.
Vampires turn 2 again. Pretty slow and steady again. Movement. Dogs have just come in the face of the gutter runners. Didn't really want to charge them because they had to throw in stars and they would have got mulched after, but it gives the gutter runners something to do now. Ghouls are over here. Banshees moved up behind them. The Count's units moved up to here. Graveguard are nicely behind him. Zombies have moved up. Skellies have moved up. Ghouls are here. And the Banshees head round the corner just here. Magic. The Necro got Invo off and I brought back 7 Skellies for the Count's unit. Count tried it. Didn't cast enough, rolled a 6 on 3 dice, and that was that. Screaming, 1 Banshee was out. This Banshee, even though the slaves are leadership 5, only managed to roll a 4, so she hasn't found her voice yet. Hopefully when she got a nice juicy rat ogre target, she will. On the Scots, turn 2.
Skaven turn 2, a bit of a mixed bag, so moved up around the flanks again. Gutter runners moved to surround the direwolves, make sure they don't just slip around me. Unfortunately, because some ghouls showed up in my backfield last turn, it gave me a bit to think about in terms of my machines. So this warp lightning cannon had to move back in order for this rattling gun to fire, and as you can see, it has wiped out the ghouls. But before that, in the magic phase, this guy attempted warp lightning on this lady here as her base was slightly poking out, but he did not cast it. This one here got a storm demon off and another warp lightning and killed 5 graveguard. The Gracier was feeling ballsy. He jumped out the unit, did pestilent breath on these ghouls, which did enough to make them run away, and then he skitter leaped back into the unit. And then shooting phase, as I said, that rattling gun wiped out the ghouls it fired at. This rattling gun here fired at these ghouls, killed 4. And then they ran away. Unfortunately, the warp lightning cannon over here blew itself up. So that was not great. And then in combat, the plague monks charged in due to frenzy. And then the Count just tore them to pieces, and as they were outnumbered by a fear-causing enemy and they lost their frenzy, they ran away and were eaten up. And those slaves over there have also fled. I should mention too, in the shooting phase, I rolled really poorly and only killed 2 direwolves. So it's not looking great, but it's still all to play for. So on to turn 3, vampire counts.
Vampire count, turn 3. A lot of things after the Count pursued, was out of his march range. So they all just sort of shuffled up. Ghouls come up to there. The direwolves charge the gutter runners. And the banshees come to here. The ghouls over here fled off the table. And these ghouls here didn't rally either. So they went back another 4. Magic just got the spell scrolled and then stopped whatever was left. Shooting, this banshee over here killed 3 gutter runners, but they passed their panic. This one here done 1 wound to the rat ogres, but the packmaster and killed the packmaster. Combats, the wolves killed another 2 gutter runners, but the gutter runners did wipe the wolves out. And they overrun, but a measly 2. And that is how it's looking at the end of Vampires turn 3 on the Skaven.
Right, Skaven turn 3. Not a lot of movement, but quite a lot happened in the magic phase. So, in the movement, the Rat Ogres charged the Banshee just to, because she was in front of them. I realised afterwards that given that I don't have any ranks and I only outnumber, I've got very little chance of getting past her quickly. But, to be honest, yeah, that was a good move by John in the first place. Whatever I did, she was going to be a pain in the ass. The gutter runners couldn't charge the Banshee over there because they rolled so dismally on their overrun. They weren't in arc, so they just moved back instead. Shuffled around a bit. Now, magic was where it got interesting. So I did a Storm Demon on the Ghoul unit that was here, which was dispelled. I then did a big Warp Lightning from this guy, which wasn't dispelled, and killed 7 of the 10. And then the Grey Seer had to be a bit ballsy. So in the movement phase, he moved here. I did Pestilent Breath, which John failed to dispel.
No, I stopped Pestilent Breath.
Oh, no, sorry, you did stop that one. But that did draw out all of John's dice. This guy here did nothing. And then I did a big Vermintide, which killed, I think it was 6 skeletons.
4 skellies.
4 skellies, 3 ghouls, wiped the ghouls out, killed a Graveguard, and 3 zombies. And then I skitter-leaped him over here, out of harm's way, hopefully, because there's too many Banshees roaming about to be standing in the open. Shooting phase. So, Warp Lightning Cannon fired at this guy here. Strength 8. John failed his lookout, sir. So his butt cheeks tightened, and then I rolled a 1 to wound. So obviously did nothing. I did frazzle 2 Graveguard in the background though, but it would have been nice to get the prize. Unfortunately, not. The Rattling Gun fired 6 shots. I think killed 3. And then this Rattling Gun only rolled 4, but I was feeling a bit nervous, so only killed another 3. And then this guy here shot his pistol and killed 1 more skeleton. So whittling them down, but they keep getting up as fast as they can. So we'll see where we go. Turn 4, vampire counts.
Turn 4 for the vampires. Count charged in against the clan rats, and then these boys were pretty well in against the rat ogres after the Banshee held them up. Magic phase, I managed to bring back 8 of these skeletons. Scott stopped the rest. Shooting phase, because the Banshees can scream in combat, she killed the Rattling Gun here. This one didn't manage to get this one, so she might be in a wee bit of trouble. And then in the combats, as you can see, I think the Thrall done all the damage, didn't they?
Pretty much, yeah.
Thrall done all the damage. They were double ones to stay with a reroll, which they failed both times and caused this chap to panic, who's now run over here. And then in this one, Scott had 2 goes at a 5, failed them both. They fled off the table, but all importantly, the rest of his units did stick around here. So see what Scott can do in turn 4.
Okay, Skaven turn 4, and they are clinging in for dear life. So this boy here rallied, which was very helpful because it kept my magic nice and strong. These guys failed a fear check and so didn't charge here. They failed a fear check and didn't charge here. Skaven slaves ran off the board. Rat ogres ran off the board. But it wasn't all gloomy because the magic phase was pretty brutal. I got Storm Demon with these. It's gone away now, but it did do a handful of wounds on the Graveguard. Then I did the big spell. Did you stop that one?
Stop. No, let Pestilent Breath go through.
Oh yeah, sorry. I did Pestilent Breath over here and killed a nice chunk of zombies.
I stopped his big one on the Graveguard.
Yeah, the Warp Lightning here was stopped. This one I got off on the Skeleton Vampire unit and killed a few. And then I did Vermintide, killed a few more zombies. A couple more Graveguard, whittling them down a little bit. Sadly, it didn't go far enough to hit the Banshee. So the Banshee was finished off in combat. Sorry, in shooting. First of all, I fired with the Warp Pistol and wounded her, and then finished her off with the Rattling Gun. Over here, the Warp Lightning Cannon only went 14 inches, but it did do 2 wounds to the Vampire Count, who failed his Lookout Sir again. Skeletons obviously don't like him very much. And killed 4 skeletons. It's just sad I couldn't get one more wound on him, otherwise that would have been a nice leveling up. And then yeah, it didn't go far enough to do anything over here. So all the Vamp units are looking pretty depleted. But there isn't a lot of Skaven on the board to take advantage of it. So let's see how John deals with turn 5.
Vampire Count's turn 5. Charges, the Graveguard went in against the Clan Rats. And that was it. Zombies moved round. These reformed. The Banshee come over here. And these reformed that away to face the Warp Lightning Cannon. In the magic phase, Scott managed to stop the Van Hels on these. The Count trying to heal himself didn't manage to, and then the Necro trying to heal up the Count's unit also didn't manage to. In shooting, she screamed, done 2 wounds, which was enough, but Scott had a ward save and saved both of them, so that crafty little swine is still alive. And then in the combats, luckily, 2 Graveguard aimed at the Warlock, and I got a killing blow, so killed him, and then we killed 2 more Clan Rats and tied the combat. So they're stuck there. Still pretty in the balance. See how Scott's turn 5 goes.
Skaven turn 5. I've done some damage, not sure if it's enough. So it wasn't a lot of movement. The Gutter Runners just tried to get more into the centre. Grey Seer popped out the unit because he needed to get some stuff done. And this guy moved up a bit. So starting off, this guy did a nice blast of Warp Lightning and killed the Banshee that was dogging his steps. Would have liked to have added firepower into the battle, but I just needed to get rid of her. I was going to skitter leap the Grey Seer to try and join the carnage over here, but John did stop that one, so he settled for doing a pestilent breath and taking out a whole bunch of zombies. Then over this way in the shooting phase, the Warp Lightning Cannon misfired and spun around and blasted off a shot over here, doing nothing. The Rattling Gun also misfired. I got greedy, but thankfully it didn't explode or do anything too mental. And that was it, I think. And then in the combat, Rats did nothing. 1 of them died, which meant that 3 Graveguard crumbled. But obviously they're holding, and I'm in a pretty precarious position. So final turn for the Vampires. Over to John.
Turn 6 for the Vamps. The Wraith and the Thralls unit charged the flank of the Clan Rats. They passed their terror and they passed their panic check for being charged in the flank whilst engaged in combat. The Count's unit charged the Rattling Gun. He fled through fear, and then I pursued and ran into the Warp Lightning Cannon, which then fled off the table. The Necro jumped out to stop himself getting crumbled if the slaves decide to charge the zombies. And in the combats, we didn't actually do that many wounds. We only killed 4, but with a flank, the ranks, banner, and whatever else, we did win combat by 7 or 6, sorry, and they were a 3 to stay, and they failed, went 8, and the Thralls unit caught them on a 9. So that is how we're looking now. Scott needs a big last turn to try and salvage something here, I think. But over to him next.
Skaven turn 6, and it's all over now. The Gracier moved over here, or no, he was over here, sorry, so he could do a Pestilent Breath. The Gutter Runners charged into the Graveguard, and the Clanrat Slaves charged into the Zombies. As you can see, they took out the Zombies. There was only 3 of them left, so it would have been pretty poor if they didn't. My Warlock blasted the Necromancer and killed him, but also killed himself because he rolled so many 1s. The Gracier did a nice Pestilent Breath, which took both of these units down below half.
Stop the Pestilent Breath.
Sorry, no, Pestilent Breath was stopped. It was the Vermintide that took out a few skeletons from each, which dropped both of them below half. But then the Gutter Runners just screwed up horribly, got massacred, and then panicked the Gracier, who ran away. So it was a big defeat anyway, but with only a block of slaves left on the table. I do hold one end of the road, but yeah, the vampires have weathered the storm. They've managed to just claw through everything, and I don't have a lot left. So the Skaven Gracier, though, does live to fight another day, which is the main thing. So, big win for Vampire Counts.
Well
Cheers,
done,
John. Another good one. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. This has been the Mercenary Miniature Painter Wargames channel. And stay tuned. We'll have another game up next Wednesday. We've got like a decent backlog now, so we have a pretty consistent schedule for the next couple of months, I would have thought. So like, subscribe, please. It does help the channel, and comment below if you like the game. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.